Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bexar County Court at Law number 6 and the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Today is our plea docket. It is October 14th, 2021 at approximately 2:25 p.m. Cases I have set today are cause number 650107, State of Texas versus Juan Marroquin Vasquez, represented by Mr. Michael Dominic, which is a motion to revoke community supervision. We have cause number 663209, State of Texas versus Yair Ramos, represented by Judge Joanne De Hoyos. We have cause 638844, State of Texas versus Kevin Hogan, represented by James Rickerson. Cause number 646015, State of Texas versus Eric Trevino, represented by Judge Russell Mitchell.
Hey, Judge.
Cause number 649610, State of Texas versus Assad Irani. Or is that the one that got reset with Mr.
It's got reset, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. Cause number 664067, State of Texas versus Abida Magani, represented by Mr. Hayward Regano. Cause number 666442, State of Texas versus Kobe Mancias, represented by Ms. Sydney Reed. Cause number 596034, State of Texas versus Sean Aguero, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Cause number 660911, State of Texas versus Matica Jackson, represented by Ms. Hallie Peace. Cause number 652686, State of Texas versus Arturo Vidales, represented by Mr. Dylan George. Cause number 643962, State of Texas versus Mike Orico, represented by Mr. Eric DeWalt. And cause 665500, State of Texas versus Rafael Campuzano, represented by Mr. Eric Reynolds. First case we're going to take up is the motion to revoke community supervision on Mr. Juan Marroquin Vasquez, cause 650107. Mr. Dominic, are you ready to proceed at this time?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Okay, and cause 650107, Mr. Vasquez and Mr. Dominic. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Are we doing this in Spanish?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, hang on. I haven't got my interpretation going here yet. Okay, I think we're good. Let me start over. Mr. Vasquez and Mr. Dominic, the first document I need to identify your signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. This document is in English. In fact, Mr. Vasquez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
I think he's on mute, Judge. He's nodding his head. Juan, ¿necesitas picarle al botón de mute donde está el micrófono rojo? Tienes que quitar el mute.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything from Miss Abrams for some reason.
There he is.
Okay.
Sí, claro que sí.
Yes, sir. I was going to go to ISF.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Dominic, as attorney for Mr. Vasquez, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. I next have two documents, one in English and one in Spanish, entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. The English one is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. The one in Spanish is not so marked, but administratively, it needs to be marked on the Spanish version, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Vasquez, is this your signature on both the English and the Spanish versions of this document?
Was supposed to go to ISF, like I said, but they've been.
Thank you. And Mr. Dominic, is this both your signature on the English version and the Spanish version?
Like I said, I
Yes, Your Honor.
6 months ISF, all of a sudden they came up to my.
Okay, my understanding, Mr. Dominic, is this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, with some exceptions.
What we normally do is accept a plea of either true or not true with an explanation and go from there. Will that be adequate in this case?
That's adequate.
All right. Mr. Vasquez, in cause 650107, on the motion to revoke supervision, how do you plead, sir?
That's all I know. I work up the deal.
Cierto.
Thank you. And for the record, representing the state in all these matters will be Mr. Guillermo Flores and Ms. Megan Galloway. And representing Bear County CSCD will be Ms. Susan Gross, who I will swear at this time. Ms. Gross, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth,
Like I said,
nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I woke up.
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, in cause 650107 on the motion to revoke community supervision. You pled true with an explanation. Susan, would you please advise the court and the staff and the parties of the status of Mr. Marroquin Vasquez probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. He has been reporting as directed. We last saw him September 10th of 2021.
I don't remember.
He has paid $150 towards his fees. He has a balance of $1,152, and he is delinquent $68. We have no proof of any of his 38 hours of community service having been completed, and we have no proof of enrollment or completion of Victim Impact Panel, DWI education, or the CATSNP program. He's had one failure to submit to drug testing, and then he has had one positive for alcohol on the Smartster mobile device, where he is currently tested 4 times per day. On September 4th, 2021, he blew a .167, and he failed to provide a retest. And also on the same date of September 4th, 2021, he allowed someone else to blow into the machine. His criminal history includes arrests for possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram in a drug-free zone, and possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram. His officer, or I apologize, and additionally, he violated his conditions by leaving the county of Bear on 2 occasions without permission. His officer is recommending that he register for CATSNP within 10 days, and that his Smart Start Mobile be increased to 6 times per day.
Okay, Mr. Dominic, what are you requesting? And let me ask you at this time, anyone that I'm not specifically talking to right now, please turn your microphone off. We're getting a lot of background noise. Okay, Mr. Dominic, what are you requesting, please?
I'm requesting whatever the state recommends. I think that's adequate. I also would like, on behalf of my client, he's having trouble communicating with his probation officer, saying that anytime he needs to call or to request of something, he works in construction, Judge, so he doesn't have 10 days in advance to explain where he's being sent to on a job like she would like. So we want to file a motion to modify conditions for him. But he would also like to maybe get another probation officer. It's a little more easy to get in contact with and would help him. He alleges that the CATSNP he didn't go into or enroll in because his probation officer didn't explain that to him. And she also, or he allegedly says that she told him the CSR hours had to be paid for and not served, which I explained to him is not the case. You can do either or. But he does have his Texas DWI education certificate, and that's when he got arrested the day he was going to present it. It's right here in my possession. I also have it in a digital format. So I think we can modify his probation and let him out. I think that would be the best way to go forward, Judge.
Who else is blowing in Mr. Vasquez's machine?
Well, apparently Mr. Vasquez said that wasn't anybody blowing. That was somebody standing right around here in the shoulder when he had the machine, and the machine said unrecognized face. He alleges nobody blew. He in fact did blow 0.167 afterwards, but nobody blew for him.
Susan, what's the probation side of that issue?
I'm gonna look it up right now, Your Honor.
I assume the device takes pictures of people blowing in it, and that's how they would know if it was Mr. Vasquez or somebody else blowing in the machine. But that's
That is correct. It does take a picture each time. And I'm looking him up right now, Judge.
While she looks that up, Your Honor, my client has also switched jobs as of late to reduce the possibility of travel to the immediate San Antonio area. So any motion to modify conditions would only be somewhere outside the Loop 1604 area. That's the only places he would be traveling to in his new job. So I think that goes to show that my client is also trying to fix his employment situation, to better accommodate the probation terms.
Ms. Gross, do you have an answer yet?
It's coming up right now, Judge.
How is Mr. Vasquez employed that he needs to travel, Mr.?
He works in construction, Judge, so they send him, on a 2-day, 1-day notice.
I'm also concerned, Mr. Dominic, he's blowing twice legally intoxicated. That's a little bit unusual in our line of work. What's going on with that?
Yes, Your Honor. I cannot offer an explanation. He admits to that, and he knows that was wrong, and promises that he will never do that again. He's already learned his lesson. I can't speak any further than what he's told me. So
I understand.
Judge, I'm going to cut and paste and email you something real quick, and you tell me if it's the same person.
Can you send it to defense counsel also?
If I have his email,
sure, I can put it in the chat box if that works.
perfect.
I'll send it to you.
This is me, Susan, as well. Thank you.
Yep.
Just send it to you, Susan.
I'm not receiving it yet. Have you sent it already?
Not yet,
Oh.
Judge.
Then that would be a reason.
All right, I sent it blank with no, nothing in the subject line.
I'm not getting it for some reason.
Hit your refresh button.
I got it.
Mr. Dominic, you look at him and you tell me if it's the same person or not.
No, it's not the same person, Judge.
It's not the same? Okay. Okay, state recommendation.
Yes, Your Honor. The state recommends the following modifications to the conditions of probation. We recommend the SCRAM device instead of the Smart Start mobile device. I believe that the defendant needs to be adequately supervised, register for the CAT-SNP program within 10 days upon release, weekly UAs for 8 weeks, and also substantial compliance within 15 days.
What was the original fine on this case, Susan, if you know?
$500, Your Honor.
Mr. Dominic, is Mr. Vasquez interested in attending the substance abuse treatment facility inpatient drug alcohol rehabilitation program
Yes.
for 120 days?
I'll let him answer that one.
you might need to go to breakout room with him and chat with him. Here's his two options.
Okay,
A is to get revoked and sentenced. B
okay,
is if he volunteers to go to the inpatient, which is substance abuse treatment facility, drug rehabilitation or drug alcohol rehabilitation program. Minimum time there is 120 days and it's inpatient. He can't leave. He can't call anybody. He can't do anything except listen to their classes, which will try to change the way he thinks about drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
I think, and Susan will have to brief us up currently, but normally it takes a month or two of sitting in jail before they actually get a bed at SATF. Is that accurate, Susan?
No, Your Honor, it's actually taking much longer than that. We have somebody that's been in there almost 3 months and there's no projected transfer date as of right now.
Okay, well, I don't really have a lot of options. That's one of the offers I can make, but obviously that's not a really wonderful offer for the defense for your guy to have to sit in jail for 90 days before he goes to inpatient for 120 days. Do you want to chat with your client in a chat room or whatever, Mr. Dominic, on that, or do you already know?
Sure, those are the only two options, correct?
I beg your pardon, say again?
So those are the only two options available, sentencing or the treatment
Yeah.
program? Okay, I'll chat with him just to make sure, let him know, and we'll come back.
All right, all good.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you.
Judge. Thank you.
Judge, may I speak to the rest of the crowd while they're
Please.
doing that?
Please do.
Attorneys and defendants, anyone that is currently residing outside of Bexar County or outside the state of Texas, you need to let the judge know before you enter your plea. If you will be moving outside of Bexar County or outside the state of Texas, you need to let the judge know before you enter your plea, because we have to know and put on your conditions of probation whether you're going to be transferred or you're going to still report here or what. So it's very important that you tell the judge before your plea if you're going to be residing in Bexar County or outside of Bexar County. And Pat, I'm going to ask you, would you please note that if there is anyone?
Okay, Judge Joanne, are you ready to go forward on your plea on Mr. Ramos?
Judge, I'm covering for,
Oh, I'm sorry, Joseph, excuse me.
yes, and we're ready.
Let's do that while we're waiting.
This one is a Spanish speaker as well.
Correct. This is cause number 663-209, State of Texas versus Yera Ramos, represented by Mr. Joseph Statson. And this is a plea, and Mr. Ramos is a Spanish speaker, and we have our interpreter present during this hearing. Mr. Ramos and Mr. Statson, I'm looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, which purports to have both your signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Ramos, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Sí.
Thank you. And Mr. Statson, let's see, I've got Judge Joanne De Hoyos, your trial partner's signature on this document. Can you confirm that is signed by her?
That is Judge Joanne's signature.
Thank you. The next document I have, Mr. Ramos, is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions, that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Ramos, is this your signature on the back of this document also?
Sí, sí, es mi firma.
I don't know what that means. Anybody know what that means? Oh, that is my signature. I know what that means. Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Ramos?
Sí.
And for the record, there are actually two copies of this document, one in English and one in Spanish. And I neglected to ask Mr. Ramos if this is his signature on both these documents, one in English and one in Spanish.
Sí.
Thank you. Mr. Statson, as attorney for Mr. Ramos, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
I have, and I believe he is.
Mr. Ramos, are you a United States citizen, sir?
No, soy residente.
Mr. Ramos, if you are not a citizen of the United States of America, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere for the offense charged may result in your deportation, your exclusion from admission to this country, or the denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Ramos, have you discussed with your attorneys and been made aware of the mentioned consequences? And are you still knowingly now wanting to enter a plea to this offense?
Sí,
Thank you. Mr. Stateson, as attorney for Mr. Ramos, have you had the ability to discuss with him the possible problems he may encounter with regard to his immigration status if he enters a plea to this crime?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hoyos has gone over this with Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos is lawfully here in the country. We've explained immigration consequences. This is not a crime of deportation. Other questions he had about immigration, Mr. Ramos desired to go forward with the plea today.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Stateson, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have.
And state, you may have sent me a document that showed all the plea bargains for today, but I didn't receive it for whatever reason. So this case is starting out as what? DWI?
Right now, Judge, it's a Class A DWI with a.
Okay, so I see you have a motion. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead and make your motion.
State moves to waive and abandon the enhancement paragraph and proceed on a Class B DWI, Judge.
And is it originally a DWI greater than 0.15 blood or breath?
Yes, Your Honor. That's the offense.
I got you.
25 on 3.
Okay, the state moving to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement, no objection from the defense is granted. Mr. Ramos, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
culpable.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Ramos?
Yes, Your Honor. $800 fine. We asked the court to probate $200. Court costs 6 months, Perry County Jail, probated for 16 months. DWI, education, VIP, CATSNP, 48 hours of community service, Smart Start mobile device for half the term, regular UAs, and pay restitution, if any, to Jeff Alejos, that is ALEJOS, and the amount is to be determined.
And what was the first initial for Mr. or Miss Allejos?
Jeff,
Did you have
oh, it's A, Your Honor.
A as an alpha?
Yes,
All right, I got you. And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Ramos, in cause 663-209, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I said 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 16 months, $800 fine. We're probating how much, Guillermo?
200.
200?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, probating 200 of that, plus court costs. 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for 8 months, which is 1/2 the term, regular urinalysis tests, restitution, if any, to initial A as an alpha, Allejos, A as an alpha, I as in India, E as in Echo, J as in Juliet, O as in Oscar, S as in Sierra. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Ramos?
Just one thing, Judge.
Sure.
To clarify, yeah, first name is Jeff, Jeff. Last name is Alejos. That's ALEJOS.
ALEJOS, correct?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
First name Jess, JESS.
JEFF.
All right. Restitution, if any, to Jess Alejos. That sound right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Thank
right, we're doing better now, which is why I need your
Okay.
document. All right,
Your Honor, let me try to get Mr. Vasquez in that breakout room. He has not, he needs to join. Necesitas apuntar el botón azul para hablar con tu abogado.
hey, State, did y'all send me a document that showed all the plea bargains for today?
Mr. Vasquez.
I sent it to
Ah.
Pat, but I just sent it to you again.
All right, great, I'll get it here. Hopefully.
No sale.
I'm sorry, what is the question, please?
He's having trouble going, Your Honor. He doesn't see the button to go down there, and it is there. The invitation is there.
He needs to move his mouse to the bottom.
Move.
Ah, there's my document. Hot diggity dog.
There he goes. He goes. Thank you so much.
And Judge, can we please wait for him to come back? Because I really gotta go.
I understand. That's what we're waiting for. Correct. Mr. Ramos and Mr. Stateson are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
Susan, I'm gonna go in there and tell him that you need to go.
Okay.
He left. He is totally signed out of he's not in the breakout room anymore.
Ugh. Who, the attorney or the defendant?
The defendant. He hit.
Lovely.
Ok, muchas gracias.
All right, Mr. Dominic, are you still with us? Now, he's in jail, the defendant, right? So he's not really going anywhere. Is that pretty much accurate?
Correct.
So do we need to call the table? What do we need to do?
Judge, may I approach?
Sure.
I think my client mistook the leave button for the join button, so he left the Zoom meeting.
He's come back in.
Oh, he's back in? Okay. And I understand Susan has to leave from what Pat told me, so I just want to run it by him and see what he wants to do, because it's not me serving the time, so.
Correct. You still have not been able to talk to him in the chat room, is that correct?
No, that's
That's
correct.
right.
All right, so let's get them both in the chat room, and that's what we got to do.
Thank you, Judge.
And we're going to take 5 minutes while I try to get this document printed because it's not working.
Thank you, Judge. Juan, vas a tener que picarle al botón azul ahorita que salga la invitación.
And you can go back into 4.
Thank you, Pat.
Just went in there.
करना चेक वगैरह कर।
कुछ नहीं करी हूँ, हावर्ड टेक्स्ट किया है वो देख रही हूँ।
हावर्ड टेक्स्ट
अपन नहीं पता चल रहा है।
टाइम पर just text something to my wife. She cannot. Huh? Just stay on the line until the turn comes, right? So we just wait on the line, right? Thank you. Wait. Okay. चेकिंग करना चाहिए इसमें लाइन में का
तभी वो क्या बोला उसने बात हो गई ना
हाँ ओके बोलता तेरा केस इतना इजी होगा जैसे ये सब बेचारे को फिक्र नहीं करेगा वो ओके
मैंने यहाँ से म्यूट किया है ना मेरा यहाँ से म्यूट किया है मैंने आवाज नहीं जा रहा
कर गए यार
कर सकते हैं।
Susan, go. 4, room 4.
This must be why they say the wheels of justice move slowly. All right, let's get into our other pleas and we'll take them up when they get back, if they get back. All right, our batting order at this point in time is going to be cause number 638844, State of Texas versus Kevin Hogan, represented by James Rickerson. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Rickerson?
Your Honor, I believe so, yes.
All right, thank you. Cause number 646015, State of Texas versus Eric A. Trevino, represented by Judge Russell Mitchell. Judge Mitchell, are you ready to proceed?
No, Judge, I don't know. I sent him the paperwork and for whatever reason, he didn't sign it last night. With the, I don't know if the
It's signed. It's signed. Judge has it.
oh, is he on?
Yep.
Oh, okay, Eric. Okay, I didn't know. Okay, good. Okay, sorry, Judge. Well, yeah, we're ready then.
Okay.
No, Judge, my
Yeah.
guy's coming back. We gotta do this. I gotta get out of here. My appointment's in 10 minutes.
Okay, next cause is 664067, State of Texas versus Abida S. Magani, represented by Mr. Hayward Regano. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Regano?
Judge, no, I need to do mine. I have to
They're
leave.
back. They're back, Your Honor.
I'm ready when you are, Judge.
Back on the record on cause 650107, State of Texas versus Juan Marroquin Vasquez. Mr. Dominic, did you and your client make a decision on your
Yes, we
election of either
Yes, Your Honor.
rehabilitation and stay on probation or revocation?
We did, Your Honor. We'll take the sentence.
All right, fair enough. Mr. Juan Marroquin Vasquez, on cause 650107, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. It has a $500 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. Maximum sentence on this case was what, a year? And I only gave him 6 months. I'm giving him credit for at least reporting and doing whatever it is he did that he gets credit for. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Vasquez?
Nothing from the defense, Your Honor.
Good luck,
No,
Mr.
Judge.
Vasquez. Thank you, Mr. Dominic. Susan, go.
I will, Mr. Dominic, tell him that a Smart Start removal order will be in the system and somebody in his family can probably go turn it in on Monday, okay?
I'll let him know. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Thanks, Judge.
All
Bye,
right.
Have a
everybody.
great day.
You too.
Okay, current batting order. I'm sorry, who said what now? Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Ms. Abram. Next case, cause 666442, State of Texas versus Kobe J. Mancias, represented by Ms. Sydney Reed. Ms. Reed, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so we've got 638844, Kevin Hogan, 646015, Eric A. Trevino, 664067, Abida S. Magani, and 666442, Kobe J. Mancias. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding in front of you documents entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both your signature and your attorney's signature on it. Mr. Hogan, and cause 638844, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Rickerson, as attorney for Mr. Hogan, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Trevino, and cause 646015, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Yes, sir.
you. Judge Mitchell, as attorney for Mr. Trevino, is this your signature on this document?
It is.
Thank you. Mr. Magani, and cause 664067, is this your signature on this document?
Thank you.
And Mr. Regano, as attorney for Mr. Magani, is this your signature on this document also?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Mancias, and cause 666442, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Reed, as attorney for Mr. Mancias, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Hogan, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
And Mr. Trevino, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Magani, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry, is this Abida, is Miss Magani? I apologize. And in cause 666442, Mr. Mancias, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Hogan?
I just had a question if all the meetings were able to be completed and attended by Zoom.
Okay, everybody that is not specifically talking to me, please turn your microphone off. Go ahead, Mr. Hogan, say your question again. I didn't catch it.
I wanted to know if all the meetings and the classes
On probation you're talking about?
all the meetings and the classes, are they able to be attended and completed by Zoom?
Pat, do you know the answer? I assume we're staying on Zoom right now until the plague is over. Is that not what we're doing?
Your Honor, I believe that there were some that were doing Zoom and some were in person. So it depends on the class and who they go to, I assume.
Judge, if I may, I spoke with Susan and she stated that CatSnip is in person.
Okay.
That answer your question, Mr. Hogan?
Well, it does. Yes.
So do you want to proceed or do you not want to proceed? You want to take a breakout room with your attorney and chat about whatever's going on? I don't know what's going on your side, but y'all are welcome to do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Rickerson and Mr. Hogan, Pat, would you please put them in a chat room?
Yes, sir. Mr. Rickerson, hold on, and I will put you in 5 as soon as I get everybody. Hold on. All right. Mr. Hogan, you need to press a button, go to the bottom of your screen. There we go. You need, and then join. Hit join.
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Trevino on call 646-015. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney. So in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And same question for Ms. Magani. Is that correct, Ms. Magani?
Yes.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Mancias.
Just a few questions for, I guess, traveling wise and the Smart Start.
Okay, who's talking, please? Ms. Reed?
Mancias, Kobe Mancias.
Judge, that's my client. I'm happy to go in a breakout room after the plea is over to discuss it with him.
Okay, well, at this point in time, if you want to proceed, I just need to know if he agrees with the last statement I said.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
All right, all good. Thank you, sir. Okay, Judge Mitchell, the attorney for Mr. Trevino, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
I have, and he is.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Regano regarding Ms. Magani.
I have, and I believe she is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Reed with regard to Mr. Mancias.
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Trevino, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Same question for Ms. Magani.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Mancias.
Yes.
And Judge Mitchell, as attorney for Mr. Trevino, has the state fully complied with discovery for you?
They have.
Same question for Mr. Regano, as attorney for Ms. Magani.
They have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Reed, as attorney for Mr. Mancias.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And now that I've got my DA plea bargain sheet, I'm so excited. Let's see what we got going here. Mr. Trevino, in cause number 646-015 to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. This doesn't start out as a higher offense to the state. It starts out as DWI first, correct? Stays there?
That's correct, Judge.
All right, all good. Mr. Trevino, to the charge of driving while intoxicated first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest
is what I have. Court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. Is there an agreement for Mr. Trevino?
Yes, Your Honor. 180 days probated for 12 months, $500 fine, court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CatSnip, Smart Start mobile for half the term, $60 to DPS, and restitution, if any, to Marcos Longoria.
And Judge Mitchell, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Mr. Trevino, on cause 646-015, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Programs, Smart Start Mobile times 4 blows a day for 6 months, which is 1/2 the term, $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee, and restitution, if any, to Marcos Longoria. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Trevino?
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Not from the defense, Judge.
All right, good luck, Mr. Trevino, and thank you, Judge Mitchell. Okay, let's see what we're doing on Miss Magani. Okay, Ms. Magani, cause 664-067. To the charge of, and I guess the charge of possession of gambling paraphernalia or device. Is that correct, State?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
To the offense of possession of gambling paraphernalia and or device. How do you plead, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Would that be guilty?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And State, is there an agreement for Ms. Magani?
Yes, Your Honor. 12 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine, court cost, 60 hours community service, cognitive thinking course, moral recognition therapy course, $200 donation to the San Antonio Food Bank, and the state will be taking into consideration cause number 64066 and cause number 664068. Additionally, for the record, the state and defense will sign and file an agreed forfeiture of gambling proceeds, devices, equipment, and paraphernalia. An agreed forfeiture will be filed at a later after the defendant is granted deferred adjudication, Your Honor.
Complicated. Mr. Regano, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
And these are what, 8-liner games? This is kind of like a gambling machine you'd see in Las Vegas or something? Is that kind of what we're dealing with?
Something similar to that, Judge.
All right, fair enough. Okay, cognitive thinking. I need one of those myself. Everybody agreed, obviously. Okay, let's see.
We're working to argue, Judge.
Moral recognition. That's a word. Learn something every day. I don't think I have the authority to order somebody to donate $200 to the San Antonio Food Bank, so I'm going to say it's my understanding that the defense has agreed to that. Would that be okay, defense?
That's correct, Judge.
And also agreed to forfeiture of all gambling proceeds. This is all kind of open-ended. Gambling proceeds, devices, equipment, and paraphernalia. So State, at some point when you all do your forfeiture action, you're going to specifically delineate all this so the defense knows what you're talking about?
Judge, yes, a copy has been tendered to defense for review. I just cannot e-file it until after the defendant is granted deferred adjudication. But in the motion, it specifically lists the items that I am referring to.
Okay, defense, are you okay with the wording of this? Agreed forfeiture of gambling proceeds, devices, equipment, and paraphernalia?
Yes, Judge, we've already reviewed it and
All
approved
right.
it.
For the record, my understanding is that includes 1 8-liner machine, 3 motherboards from 8-liner machines, $825.75 of United States currency. Does that sound right, State?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And does that sound right, defense?
Yes, Judge.
All righty. Okay, everybody pay attention because we're gonna get this right. Miss Magani.
Yes.
Cause 664067, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of possession of gambling paraphernalia or device.
Yes, sir.
Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. Assess a $500 fine plus court cost, 60 hours community service. Require you to take a cognitive thinking course and a moral reconnection course. And my understanding is that you have agreed to make a $200 donation to the San Antonio Food Bank in consideration for the terms of this plea bargain. And you've also agreed to the forfeiture of gambling proceeds, devices, equipment, and paraphernalia. To wit, at this time, my understanding that includes 1 8-liner machine, 3 motherboards from 8-liner machines, $825.75 of United States currency. And in exchange for that, the state is also going to take into consideration cost 664066 and 664068, which will be granted and they shall be dismissed. Is that correct, state?
That's
Yes.
correct, Judge.
And is that correct, defense?
Yes.
All right, we're good to go. Ms. Magani, you're dismissed. Mr. Regano, thank you for your help. You're dismissed and good luck on figuring all that out eventually. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Let's see what we're doing on Mr. Mancias. And state, you got a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. These charging documents already include the obstruction of highway paragraph, so the state is going to waive and amend count 1 of the charging document.
No objection.
You're going to amend count 1? How does that work?
We are going to waive count 1, Your Honor.
That's good. That works fine. And proceed on count 2. We all agree. All right. So count 2 is alleging obstruction of a highway. So Mr. Mancias and cause 666442, the charge of obstruction of a highway. How do you plead, sir?
Yes, sir. Guilty.
You're in agreement for Mr. Mancias.
There is, Your Honor. 16 months deferred adjudication, $850 fine, court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, cat snip, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And defense, Ms. Reed, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Mancias, in cause 666442, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation. It says an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. And that's what I got. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Mancias?
Nothing from the state.
And Ms. Reed, you need to go into a chat room with Mr. Mancias to talk about all these different requirements?
Yes.
Okay, Pat, can you arrange that?
You go into one and I'll put Mr. Mancias in there.
And they can leave right from the chat room, right? They don't have to come
Yes,
back.
they can.
Let's
Yes,
have
they
them
can,
talk
Your
about it.
Honor. I just need to find Mr. Mancias. Well, he might have left.
No, I'm right here.
Okay. Oh, Kobe, there it is.
I was like, let me
There
talk. I was like, let me talk so I could pop up.
you go.
Thank you.
Join, hit join and go into room, run. There should be at the bottom of your screen. There you go. All right.
All right, is Mr. Rickerson back with us? I see Mr. Hogan. Oh, there you are. Mr. Rickerson, y'all want to proceed with this plea or what do y'all want to do?
Your Honor, my client has informed me that he has medical issues, and so he's concerned about the in-person. He's got a compromised immune system, so he's worried about agreeing to go into in-person. He couldn't do Zoom. So I said I'd just bring it before the court and let you know that he has a medical issue.
That's a good thing to be concerned about. As far as I'm concerned, everything we're gonna do is gonna be on Zoom, okay? And that we'll find an outpatient drug course on Zoom if that becomes necessary. You know, they're doing CAPS in person now. That's Community Alliance for Traffic Safety. They may still be doing that online. If so, we're going to use that. If not, we'll find him another one that's online. Everything with regard to Mr. Hogan's probation is going to be online and not in person. Will that work for the defense?
That'll work, Your Honor.
Okay with you, Mr. Hogan?
Yes, sir.
All right, all good. And we'll put you back in the batting order. Okay, I got 6 left that I see. I've got cause number 596034, State of Texas versus Sean P. Aguero, represented by Mr. Brendel. Mr. Brendel, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
There you go. No problem. Cause number 660911, State of Texas versus Matica L. Jackson, represented by Ms. Hallie Pease. Ms. Pease, are you ready to proceed?
We're ready, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause 643962, State of Texas versus Michael A. Arico, represented by Mr. Eric DeWalt. Mr. DeWalt, are you ready to proceed?
Ready, Judge.
Great, thanks. And cause 652686, State of Texas versus Arturo A. Vidalis, represented by Dylan George. Mr. George, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause 665500, State of Texas versus Rafael Campuzano, represented by Mr. Eric Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds, are you ready to proceed?
Ready, Judge.
Thank you. And cause 638844, State of Texas versus Kevin Hogan, represented by Mr. James Rickerson. Mr. Rickerson, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference, which purports to have both your signature and your attorney's signature on it. Mr. Aguero, in cause 596034, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Aguero, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson or Miss Jackson, in cause 660911, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Pease, as attorney for Miss Jackson, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Rico, in cause 643962, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. DeWalt, as attorney for Mr. Rico, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Judge.
And in cause 652686, Mr. Vidalis, is this your signature on this document, sir? Mr. Vidalis still with us? Mr. George, I'm looking for Mr. Vidalis on the screen.
He was in.
Oh, I see him. He's still on the screen. His microphone's turned off. Mr. Vidalis, you need to turn your microphone on, sir. There you go. Is this your signature on this document, Mr. Vidalis?
We still can't hear him.
Mr. Vidalis, can you hear me? Mr. George, you may want to call him perhaps and chat and may have him sign out and sign back in and see if that fixes it, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'll take y'all out of the batting order and we'll take you up at the end. Okay, Mr. Campuzano, in cause 665500, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Reynolds, as attorney for Mr. Campuzano, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Hogan, in cause 638844, is this your signature on the document, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Rickerson, as attorney for Mr. Hogan, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Aguero, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Jackson, is this your signature on this document also, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Rico, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Campuzano, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hogan, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing this document, are each of you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys. So that in signing these documents, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Aguero?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Ms. Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Rico?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Mr. Campuzano?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that correct, Mr. Hogan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Aguero, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Ms. Pease as attorney for Ms. Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor, she's competent.
Same question for Mr. DeWalt as attorney for Mr. Rico.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Reynolds as attorney for Mr. Campuzano.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Rickerson as attorney for Mr. Hogan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Aguero, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Ms. Jackson.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Rico.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Campuzano.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Hogan.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Aguero, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Pease as attorney for Ms. Jackson.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. DeWalt as attorney for Mr. Rico.
I believe they have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Reynolds as attorney for Mr. Campuzano.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Rickerson as attorney for Mr. Hogan.
Yes, they have, Judge.
Okay. Let's see what's going on with Mr. Aguero's case. State, you got a motion on Mr. Aguero's case.
Yes, Your Honor, the state moves to waive and abandon the 0.15 enhancement.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted.
No objection.
Imagine not. Therefore, Mr. Aguero on cause 596-034 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And is there an agreement for Mr. Aguero?
There is, Your Honor. 6 months Bear County Jail, probated for 12 months, $500 fine, court cost, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, cat snip, Smart Start mobile for half the term, and a $50 Crime Stopper fee.
Is that $50?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yep, I got you.
I failed to say at the beginning that I do not reside in Texas. I live in Colorado.
Okay. Pat, do you have any insight into whether we can transfer a probation on a DWI for a year to Colorado?
Your Honor, it was my understanding that if it was a DWI, they could not, but if it was a DWI second, they could. That was the last thing I was told.
Let's back up a second. I don't know that I have the authority to order somebody to donate $50 to Crime Stoppers. So my understanding is the defense is agreeing as part of the plea bargain to donate $50 to Crime Stoppers. Would that be accurate, defense? Mr. Brendel, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Aguero, what do you do in Colorado? What is your line of work, sir?
I'm currently in medical school. I'm a nursing student and I work as a medical assistant for the local hospital.
Okay, I don't guess you're gonna make a run on me. Let's do this. If we can transfer his probation to Colorado, we're gonna do that. if we cannot transfer his probation to Colorado for whatever reason, he's going to be allowed to answer by mail from Colorado or video, however they want to do it. And he'll be doing some of these equivalent programs on his own. The stuff, the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety is an outpatient drug course. If they did that online, you could do it. If they don't, you just need to find an equivalent outpatient drug course up there. And we'll work all that out. Is that okay with you, Mr. Aguero?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is that okay with you, Mr. Brendel?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's the plan. Okay. Let me go through this one more time. Mr. Aguero, on clause 596034, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated. First offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education course, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, new intervention program or equivalent outpatient drug course in Colorado, Smart Start mobile, home interlock at 4 blows a day for 6 months, which is half the term. $50, and the defense has agreed to donate $50 to Crime Stoppers in San Antonio as a portion of the plea bargain. And the defendant lives in Colorado. Either transfer his probation to Colorado, or if not available, he may answer by mail or video, and find Colorado equivalent courses for all these. Is that acceptable to the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that acceptable to the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Aguero, you're good to go. Thanks for your help, sir. Mr. Brendel, you're cut loose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see what we're doing, Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, second offense, how do you plead? Is
No contest.
there an agreement for Miss Jackson?
Guillermo, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No worries.
Yes,
I like
Judge.
to let it go as long as possible, just to embarrass it if we can.
1 year Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine, court costs, 24 hours of community service, DWI intervention, VIP, CAT SNP, and Smart Start mobile device for half the term.
And Ms. P, is that your understanding of the agreement?
That is, Your Honor, although at this time we would ask the court to take into consideration that Ms. Jackson has been on pretrial monitoring with the Smart Start mobile device, and we'd ask that you would consider the time that she's done since May.
I'll be happy to do that, but she kind of starts over, and I don't really have any control over the plea bargain. Basically, she's going to continue on the Smart Start mobile device in a perfect world for 6 more months if there are no violations and no major issues with blowing 4 times a day. So,
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
otherwise, is that in conformance with the defense understanding of the plea bargain?
It is.
All right. Ms. Jackson, in cause 660911, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the events of driving while intoxicated, second offense. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year, $500 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, DWI intervention program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety new intervention program, and Smart Start mobile home interlock device at 4 blows a day for 6 months, which is 1/2 the term. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. Jackson?
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Ms.
Nothing further,
Jackson.
Your Honor.
Good luck, Ms. Jackson. Thank you, Ms. Pease.
May we be
Thank
excused?
you.
You bet.
Thank you.
And Mr. Rico in clause 643962. Let's see what we're doing here. To the charge of harboring a runaway child, how do you plead, sir?
No contest?
Is there an agreement for Mr. Rico?
Yes.
There is, Your Honor. 9 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine, court cost, 48 hours community service, corrective thinking course, a no contact order with Angelica Perez, and restitution, if any, to Yvette Perez.
State, from your perspective, what happened in this case?
Mr. Dwalt, do I have your consent to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in this case, there was a The complainant was reported as a runaway in California. She came down to visit some family friends with her parents' consent in San Antonio. While she was here, she decided that she was not going to return to her parents in California, and she was living with the defendant while she was in San Antonio.
And so they're not going to have the, well, I guess Angelica Perez, no contact. So that's all good with the defense, correct, Mr. DeWalt?
Yeah, Your Honor, that was sort of right. There was a felony case that mirrored this. That got dismissed. The alleged victim kind of led the law on a little chase, but it was a consensual relationship. They were living with Mr. Rico's mother. When it finally came out that she was a runaway, it was, I believe, a huge lie that she was being beat by her parents and whatnot. So there was some issues with the alleged victim, but I believe the state and I have worked through this. I believe it's a fair offer. We'd ask you follow it.
Well, why would there be restitution to Yvette Perez, who I guess is the mother of Angelica Perez? Does that sound right?
Yes, Your Honor, that's the mother of Angelica. She did indicate that there were some costs associated with her having to travel, but I believe that that is a matter that needs to be investigated by the probation department, and the state has no objection to a restitution hearing in the future.
Okay, is that okay with you, Mr. DeWalt?
As long as there's a restitution hearing, because I believe her trip down here and trip back were all on her own expense.
The reason I asked that question, I'm having a hard time figuring out why she would deserve restitution, but I guess we can take that up at a future point if that's okay with the defense.
Always.
All right, Mr. Rico, in clause 643-962, court accepts your plea of no contest to harboring a runaway child. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 9 months deferred adjudication probation, assess a $500 fine plus court cost, 48 hours community service, corrective thinking class, no contact with Angelica Perez, restitution, if any, to Yvette Perez, and if she makes a claim of restitution, Mr. DeWalt, let us know, and we will set a restitution hearing. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Rico?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing from the defense on Mr. Rico.
Good luck, Mr. Rico. Thank you, Mr. DeWalt. Y'all are excused.
Your Honor.
Hello?
Your Honor, Eric, can I bend your ear for 2 seconds while I have Megan in front of me?
Not right now. As soon as we finish, I've got 2 more pleas and then I'll talk to you. Can you hang on for that? All right, thank you.
Sticking here.
Thank you, all good. Mr. Campuzano, on clause 665500 to the charge of reckless driving. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Campuzano?
There is, Your Honor. 6 months deferred adjudication, $200 fine, court cost, driver safety course, and 24 hours of community service.
When you say driver safety course, the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety has a course called aggressive driving course. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that sound right, defense?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, all good. Hang on. Okay, this is not on my cheat sheet, is it, State?
No, Your Honor.
That one is not.
Okay, so we had 6 months deferred, $200 fine plus court costs, aggressive driving safety course, and what else, State? Anything else?
24 hours of community service, Your Honor.
Is that it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Judge.
Mr. Campuzano, on clause 665500, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of reckless driving. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt, place you on 6 months deferred adjudication probation, assess a $200 fine plus court costs, aggressive driving safety course for the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, and 24 hours of community service. Anything further from the state or the defense of Mr. Campuzano?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
Slow down, Mr. Campuzano. Don't drive like Mr. Reynolds, and we'll be in good shape. All right, y'all take care.
Thank you.
Judge.
And let's see what we're doing on Mr. Hogan. Mr. Hogan, in clause 638-844 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Hogan in 638-844?
There is, Your Honor. 1 year Bear County Jail, probated over 1 year. $500 fine.
Wait, let me stop you there. I apologize for interrupting. My information on my sheet said that the driving while intoxicated, not a second. Is it a second or is it enhanced in some way?
It's DWI 0.15 or higher, Your Honor.
Okay, that's not on my information sheet. Is that correct, Mr. Rickerson?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's back up a second. Mr. Hogan, to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content of 0.15 or higher, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
There we go. Now we're cooking. Go ahead, Ms. Galloway.
Yes, Your Honor. The agreement in 638-844 is 1 year Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year. $500 fine. Court cost, 48 hours community service. DOEP class, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT SNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, restitution, if any, to Eddie De La Garza Alejandro, and the state is going to take into consideration cause number 638-845 and cause number 63846.
In defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there is active warrants, so if you could please recall those as well.
Okay, let's see if I got this correct. And Mr. Rickerson, you indicated that is your understanding of the plea bargain. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hogan, in clause 638-844, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated with a blood or breath alcohol content greater than 0.15. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year. A $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DOEP course, DWI education, DWI Victim Impact Panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for 6 months, restitution, if any, to Eddie De La Garza Alejandro, taking into consideration clause 638-845 and 638-846, which shall be granted and they shall be dismissed, recalling all previous warrants and pretrial services bond conditions. Anything further from the state of the defense of Mr. Hogan?
No, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Hogan. Thank you, Mr. Rickerson. Y'all are excused.
Thank you.
And let's see, Mr. George, are we ready? Do we have Mr. Vidalis back? We do.
Hello?
Okay, Mr. Vidalis, can you hear me this time, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, let's just start from scratch. This is clause 652-686, State of Texas versus Arturo A. Vidalis, represented by Mr. Dylan George. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. It purports to have both your signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Vidalis, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. George, as attorney for Mr. Vidalis, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next document I have, Mr. Vidalis, is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. It purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? Had any questions about what was on this document? Those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney. So that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. George, as attorney for Mr. Vidalis, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vidalis, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. George, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Vidalis, the charge of criminal trespass of a habitation or shelter, how do you plead, sir?
No contest.
Is there an agreement for Mr. Vidalis?
Yes, Your Honor. 9 months deferred adjudication, $350 fine, court cost, 24 hours community service, no contact order with Angel Villasana, his residence and his property, no contact with Allison Lugo, her residence and her property, a mental health evaluation, defendant to follow the recommendation of the evaluation, and a special needs unit.
And Mr. George, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
And state, who's going to give a mental health evaluation? The only mental health evaluations I have access to are like competency evaluations, which apparently we're not needing because we're entering into a plea at this time. That makes sense?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that would be conducted by the Center for Healthcare Services in conjunction with the special needs unit.
And you agree with that, Mr. George?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Vidalis, about 652-686. Court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of criminal trespass of a habitation. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold the finding of guilt. Place you on 9 months deferred adjudication probation. It says a $350 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service. Order you to have no contact with Angel via, let me read this, via Sana, his residence or property, and no contact with Allison Lugo, her residence and her property. You are to submit to a mental health evaluation administered by the Center for Healthcare Services Special Needs Unit and follow their evaluation recommendations. What does SNU stand for, state?
Judge, that's special needs unit.
Okay, gotcha. And that's what I got. Is that anything, Mr. George, is that your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. Good luck, Mr. Vidalis, and thank you, Mr. George.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
You bet. Mr. DeWalt, you're on.
Well, hello, Your Honor. I'm so glad Megan Galloway is on here. I'm kind of in a pickle, and she's allowed me to contact you and thank you for communicating with me. But I'm talking about Kenneth Howard. Kenneth Howard has a prior POM that's closed, so it's not a DWI. He has a DWI out there right now, but I received discovery and he blew a .05. So I think the state wants to reevaluate his blood and see if there's anything else in there. But because of the DWI, there's an unlawful carrying of a weapon. Without the DWI, the weapon isn't unlawful. He was sleeping in his car. Now, it's my understanding he was out on bond and something happened where y'all yanked him back. I think he blew into his machine, dirty, so to speak. He had called me. I missed the call, but his parents called me in Killeen and they retained my services. So at first I said, let me try to get him the help he might need. I talked to Megan. I don't think we can plead this guy out without knowing the facts of the case. Also, they kind of want to help him out, but I'll be honest, they're military family, and I don't mean to say anything, but I think I'm taking everything they got for the month. I mean, they don't have anything else. So I'm asking for the bond to be reinstated And I just need to know what he needs to put on his ankle or what conditions so he can get out. He's been in for, I'm not even sure, but at least 2 weeks because I got hired 2 Fridays ago. Is that correct, Megan? And he can live in Killeen. I talked to his parents. You said weekly UAs. They're willing to drive him to and from, on the weekly UAs. You said 4 clean and you would do it monthly. I'm just trying to get him out and dealing with a bond right now.
All right, let me back up and make sure we're all on the same sheet of music. Mr. Howard is currently in the Bexar County Jail and has been for how long? A couple of weeks, probably?
At least 2.
Your Honor, his booking date was September 20th, 2021.
But then did he get out?
Coming up on a month, in other words, September, October. So I've got 2 violation reports on this gentleman. First one dated September 14th, 2021, where he allegedly blew a .056, and a second one on September 16th, where he allegedly blew a .130. And I apologize to Mr. DeWalt. I'm having a hard time keeping up with all my conversations with the defense counsel for 1,000 defendants on pretrial and 1,000 defendants on probation, and every one of them's got a lawyer, and I talked to them all. So I think what I told you was, if you could get him on scram, I would reinstate his bond and do all this other stuff. As long as he's not drinking, everybody's happy. I think that's what I told you. Does that sound right?
I believe so, but could you waive scram fees? And how long does it take to get a scram? I had a girl that said another 2 weeks trying to get one.
I have no idea about the answer to that question. My understanding from Brooke, who's our staff attorney, is I do not have the authority to waive scram fees. I have authority to waive GPS, but not scram fees. On September 17th, I ordered for Mr. Howard bond increase of $10,000 with scram cam and full GPS and weekly report in UA. All I wanted to do is stop drinking. I can't, he's already got 2 violation reports. I can't trust him to stop drinking unless I've got him on a scram bracelet. And that's where we're at. Is there any chance of resolving this case? Do you have a blood test or a breath test or something on this case?
Judge, we have blood in this case, and the blood alcohol concentration came in under the legal limit, so it's at a .05. We are currently waiting for the toxicology results from DPS. So it's still a red file. I have reviewed it. At this point, I believe that the state is going to proceed with prosecution. However, I have no objection to the bond being reinstated in this case.
Mr. DeWalt, let me throw this at you.
Judge, let me throw something to Megan real quick, please.
You want to throw something, Megan? Go ahead.
Megan, what if we plead to the unlawful carrying of a weapon and get him some help he needs addressing the actual situation? And when you get the toxicology back, he might already have completed a lot of it and we plead to that. Or if it doesn't come back, he's already getting the help he needs.
Yeah, I've reviewed the videos in this case, and I believe that we can prove it on the loss of physical. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay, I've reviewed the videos in this case. I believe that we can proceed on the loss of mental or physical faculties. So I don't feel comfortable pleading him to the UCW at this time.
Good. At this time, let me jump in. I apologize to everybody. Ms. Galloway, can the state accept a plea bargain on a DWI charge at this time with the evidence you have, or do you have to wait to get your toxicology report back?
I believe that we could plead the case, but Mr. DeWalt would have to waive the labs since we don't have the toxicology.
I'd have to waive the labs and go on loss of mental and physical. And the fact pattern was he was sleeping in his car. He was homeless. There was no driving facts. I understand. Car was on. It's hot. They had to wake him up.
And also, I don't feel comfortable pleading him to the UCW because if the labs come back that he wasn't high, I mean, then there's no UCW either. So I just feel that the best way to proceed is to have this individual on bond.
Okay, Judge, could you give...
Everybody stop talking. Eric, can you live with this? Let's say for the sake of conversation, I withdraw his bond increase and reinstate his bond. That gets him out of jail. I keep him on weekly report, and UA, not GPS. I waived GPS. We put him on a Smart Start mobile device at 6 blows a day, not 4, instead of a scram bracelet. If you can get him to blow on the machine reliably, he's not going to drink without us knowing about it. So I have a warm, fuzzy feeling that'll handle it. I don't know if he's going to do it, but you got to tell him he's already spent substantial time in jail. I think we have his attention.
Yes, sir.
He
The
just needs
the
to
only
stop
thing I'm
drinking.
at, can this be a personal scram unit? Because I believe he lost his car. They impounded it. It's still there. I mean, this guy's out of money. He can't put it on his car. He lost his car.
Well, I can't just let him out to run around because he's going to drink and drive. Well, he's going to get his car
No.
back.
I'm saying,
His
can
car
he
in
do
the
it?
impound. Where's his car at?
Bear County impound?
That's going to cost a fortune to get it out of there.
Yes, it is.
Well, I think I'm bending over backwards doing backflips to give you some slack, but he's got to be on a Smart Start mobile device.
Yeah,
Now, if he's lost the other Smart Start
Why
mobile
not on
device,
the car?
if it's in his car and he can't get his car back, he's going to have a hell of a time getting that out of there, because those people over there are not nice people in my experience, which is very extensive with those people.
I don't know if I'm going through. Can he have the personal Smart Start, the one he carries around?
Okay, he does have access to that, or that's in his car?
Will
can't
you
hear you,
allow
Eric.
him to
Louder.
get a personal Smart Start instead of the car in the ignition?
Okay, and bear with me. I don't know any fact. He's been on a ignition interlock, which is in his car. He has not been on a Smart Start mobile. Is that what you're telling me?
That's my understanding. I'm not sure.
All right. I'm looking at my violation reports. Both of them say in-home breathalyzer, Smart Start with 4 blows a day. So at one time, at least back to September 2021, he had a Smart Start mobile. Where it is today, I don't know.
Okay, we'll do that. If you give him a Smart Start mobile, reinstate the bond. We'll go
All
from
right.
there.
Bear
6
with me.
times a
Let's
day.
step for a little feet. You got to contact him in jail and find out where the Smart Start mobile device is. If it's in his
Right.
car, you got to contact the pound and find out how much money it's going to be to get his car out of there. If it's been 30 days, it's going to be a lot, if I were guessing.
I got to give the parents their money
So,
back.
if you can get me some sort of confirmation, otherwise he's got to pay for the old Smart Start, the Smart Start people, and get a new one. I didn't say it'd be easy, but that's what I'm willing to do. If you can actively get him on a Smart Start, so when he walks out of the jail, he's actually got a Smart Start going.
And Your Honor, I am in 100% agreement with this. I cannot get an ICS Solutions to talk to any one of my clients because every one of them freezes up. They won't let me go to the jail to talk to my clients. This is horrendous. I mean, I'm fit to be tied, but yes, I mean, reinstate everything and we'll go from there. I'll see if his old bondsman will get back on. I don't know if he has to repost it.
You're not listening to me. I'm not going to reinstate him until I have confirmation he's got a Smart Start that he can immediately go on. And we don't have that confirmation right now. We don't even know where it is. My guess is that either the police have it in evidence or it's in the car. And I don't know, maybe he's got it at home. I don't know where it is, but I mean, I can't do it all. I'm trying to throw as many bones at you as I can.
Okay.
State, can you live with my offer to the defense as long as he's on Smart Start mobile and he's on weekly report and UA, then everybody's happy on your side? Would that be okay?
Yes, Judge, no objection.
All right. And as far as working the case out, I mean, obviously Eric's got to do what he's got to do. This guy's got substantial time in jail. I don't know if even a JSAT is possible under the circumstances. If the defense would entertain that, that's up to you guys.
If I was Mr. DeWalt, how do you feel? I wouldn't do that. I don't like.
Sorry, Megan, you're froze.
I think we should just wait until the labs come back. I think Mr. DeWalt has identified some problems that he sees with the case, so I don't think he would feel comfortable JSATting his client.
How long will it be before the labs come back? There's your question.
That's a question I cannot answer, Judge. It's up to
I heard it's taking several months to get labs back, like 4 or 5 or 6 maybe. Does that sound right?
Yeah, this is a new case. It just occurred on August 19th, 2021. So it will take a couple of months to get the toxicology results back.
Anyway, that's the ball's in your court, Eric. If you can confirm for me in the state that the guy will be active on a Smart Start mobile device, which he had before he was arrested, And I'm guessing maybe the jail has it. If they would arrested him on an MTR warrant, I assume that's why he was arrested. The jail's probably got the damn thing. And if they've got it, then we can get it back. And then where everybody's good. And then you can worry about the car another day.
I just got to worry about trying to communicate with my client. So
All right. My suggestion would be contact the jail and or the police department, whatever, if it was sheriff or police, I don't know who the arresting agency was, and see if this Smart Start mobile device is in evidence or, being held, and then we know where it is. Then we just have to make it, turn it on. You can do that over the phone if you pay the Smart Start.
Okay, I'll do what I can.
All right.
Or I see